Okay, in this video, I'm gonna go over flyers really quick. I'm waiting right now for Google to finish, or the testing for the 12 testers to finish, and that's like 14 days. So I'm focused on flyers next because once I'm on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store, I gotta put out flyers and get users and stuff. So I'm gonna go quickly over flyer strategy and flyer designs and key takeaways. We'll start off right now. I'm building these in Canva, if you can't tell. And Canva's pretty good for this stuff, actually, especially for mocking stuff up. This is my, this is not the flyer I'm putting out. This is the first attempt at the flyer when I was just like throwing stuff up. Generally, I err on the side of simpler designs when I design anything. So my app is pretty simple, and this flyer, I thought, okay, I should probably have like a tagline and a picture of the app and then some QR codes to scan. This tells you stuff visually, this tells you stuff in words, and then this is your call to action. So that's about all I need. I can't think of anything else that I would need on this flyer. Obviously, these are terrible designs. The white background is disgusting, and I don't know, it doesn't look good. But if you remember a video that I made maybe a year ago, I don't know, design is really easy to improve. So once you know basic design principles, then you just iterate from there, and you'll get a pretty decent design pretty quick. In this case, the basic design principle is like simplicity. Don't overwhelm the person that you're trying to contact when they see it. Like, don't overwhelm them. So keep it simple. Variety, I think, is another good design principle. So you'll see I've got the image, I've got the text, and I've got the QR code. If this was a description, like a tagline, a description of the app, and then a website to go visit, like a URL, that would be like way too much text on a flyer. So this keeps it simple. It keeps the variety there. And so now we need to iterate on this design. And I'll take you to, so here, okay, so this is the next Canva project that I made to do flyers. And the notes that I just reminding myself of, because this version was so bad I had to remind myself. The most important thing is the call to action, and the call to action is the download for me. The tagline and the pictures support that. So in this design, having them all be roughly the same size visually is not as good. The call to action is this, and so everything else should support that in the design. And then the second thing is I want to tell a story. For a thing like a flyer, you probably should tell a story if you can, even if it's a short story or a really simple story. The flow of the flyer should be a story, at least in my mind, because stories stick in people's heads better than just text and information. So with that, I'll show you what I switched to. This is the next version. I went with portrait because I feel like flyers usually come in portrait. So I changed the orientation. I also went from the white background to the dark background just because this feels more like my app. The app is a dark background app with light text. And so this does not feel like my app. This does. And that familiarity, I think, is important. So this is more on brand. I have the tagline, and then this down here. This flows more like a story. This isn't a story. This is like a picture and then like text and like this thing. This doesn't feel like it flows very well. This flows a lot better because it's just top to bottom. But I kept the same elements essentially, tagline, picture, QR code. Taglines, I think I came up with this one, and then these other ones you'll see down here, I like threw this into ChatGPT and said, give me more ideas. It was all garbage. So I just had to make like tons. And I picked apart a few that I thought were okay, and then made them better. So I'm testing taglines in these just to remind myself. Here's what it looks like. And then, so this is like a day. I did this one afternoon or one evening, and then I thought these are also garbage when I came back the next day. So the second day, or I guess this is the third day, because this was day one. This version's day two. So then day three, I watched a YouTube video on how to make better flyers, and actually made a better flyer. And this is what I got to. This is a lot better for me. So this um, is prominent, but I think I'm trying to push them through this flow. I want them to see this first, um, and then go to these. And I think these I was okay putting together just because couples need friends too. Let's make it happen. And then the next thing that you're going to see is um, here's what an example of what I'm going to download looks like. So I want to download this. What is it? It's this thing right here. So putting those side by side was not a bad idea. I went from this design. I said let's keep messing around with it. I did this. I pulled these from the app previews that I uploaded to Apple. I tried to center these more to make them more prominent, but I didn't like this. It doesn't flow as good. It's kind of choppy to like read this, then see this, then read this, then see these. So then in my next design, I went to this. I like this one even more. This is pretty prominent. And then adding these huge buttons, I think is not a terrible idea. It gives you the impression like this is what you're doing. It's either a thumb up or just the X, which is more clear than this. This picture you have to kind of like decipher, but this you're like, oh, this is like somebody's profile in an app, and I'm doing one of these two things. So then the next one, I guess is the last one. This is what I landed on today when I was doing it. I got rid of this like PowerPoint looking graphic and just centered this. Then I also opted in for shapes more than these squiggles. I feel like this is like a weird branding tangent, but the brand that I'm going for Double Date is not squiggle. The brand I'm going for is simple geometric shapes. This embodies my brand better than a squiggle does. A squiggle to me is more for a company like a Trello or a Slack, like one of these hip new SaaS companies that's like trying to be cool and like up to date, and they're like that. This is not that app. This is more embodied by simple geometric shapes like squares and triangles and circles. The other benefit to this, as I was designing this, is I realized if I'd initially had just like a bunch of shapes, but if I group the shapes together, then this is like a couple, and that's like a couple. And I might use this in marketing later, but you could say something like couples come in all shapes and sizes, and then use these shapes in different sizes to kind of embody the couples on the app. Like some personalities are circles and some personalities are squares, and a circle and a square might be in a relationship and they want to go find other circle square combos to hang out with. Or you might have two triangles and they're looking for other couples who are like two triangles. And so I think putting the shapes around actually embodies the brand really well. It's good for marketing, and I will probably end up using this later. And I think this design's clean. Like if you go from this to this, like night and day difference. Absolute night and day difference. And it goes to show how I'm not trained in UI or design in any way. I'm literally using Canva and like screenshots I took on my phone to do this. My font is like Open Sans. Like this is nothing crazy. But all I did was start with the basics that I knew I wanted to do, which was I needed an image of the app. My call to action is going to be the download QR code, and then a simple tagline. I wanted it to be simple and easy to read. I knew it needed to flow. That's a good design principle. And then it needed to look clean and modern. And I watched a YouTube video and got to this. So I think I'm going to run with this. It gets the point across. Can I make it better? Absolutely. Is it worth my time? No, because the return on investment is probably not there. So yeah, I'm going to run with this design. I'm probably going to split test some of these taglines. I was talking to my wife, and she thinks I could use some of these other ones. This should actually be friends. Oops. So I could use a few of these, test and see which one works best, which one gets the most engagement from people when they see it. Um, which means that I have to do tracking. And so that's going to be the next thing I have to do. Now that I've got this, I have to get links for these two QR codes, and I've already got it on the Apple App Store, so I can get this link. I'm not on the Google Play Store yet, so I can't actually make a link for this. I have to wait for it to be on the App Store to get this link. But then once I get those links, I'm going to create the QR code so that I can track what tagline I'm using, and also location, because it's going to be really important when I put flyers throughout the city. If I put 1,000 flyers out and I'm getting a lot of people responding, like let's say I get 200 people visiting the App Store or the Google Play Store, it's really helpful to know if that came from a specific location or that came from a specific tagline. Like, you want to know that kind of stuff so that I can narrow down the taglines and maybe hit that location a little harder, and just figure out why that location works better than others so that I can, be more successful in future attempts at getting users through flyers. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. But I think I'm going to settle it on this design for now. I like it. It works. Just got to get my QR codes, my links, and all that UTM tracking stuff figured out, and then print them and throw them throughout the city. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's it for today. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.